Welcome to another sports car story. It's been a bit of a gap really, and I apologise for that. It's because we've been moving to the Isle of Man and we're here. And apparently the weather's always like this in the Isle of Man, which is great news. But yeah, we've moved to the Isle of Man, which has taken a lot of our time and resources, not just the actual move, the usual stuff of moving, but also getting the cars here. So let me just go through what we've been up to and a bit of a roundup of all the cars. So Triumph Stag was on the Isle of Wight, as you know from the previous video. If you haven't seen that, look at that. Isle of Wight's great. We were going to move there. We've switched islands. We've come to the Isle of Man for lots of reasons. I'll tell you about that later. So the first thing we had to do was get this car off the Isle of Wight and to Berkshire, where we used to live. And on the way from the Isle of Wight, we went into Vintage Tyres, which is in the New Forest, get new tyres for the Stag. We've been trugging around the Isle of Wight with this car on these tyres. I kept thinking, oh, they're not that old, but turned out they're 15 years old, so felt a bit embarrassed. And Ben at Vintage Tyres really goes on about how dangerous old tyres are, so did the right thing, especially as it was my wife who was going to be driving it to Haitian, where you get the ferry, which is a long drive in old classic cars. So got the new tyres at Vintage Tyres. While we were there, we basically nailed the tyres for the XJC, because we've been going round in circles with the Broadspeed John Steed replica, because the original wheels were 16-inch, but according to Ben at Vintage Tyres, I cannot get those sort of high-profile but wide tyres for 16-inch. They're just impossible. But you can for 15-inch. I think it's mainly for Cobras and that sort of stuff. So while we were there, Ben showed me the tyres that are available. It's pinned us on the 15-inch size wheel. And the good thing about that is Tim, who's also doing a John Steed replica. No, he's doing a John Steed race car, but it's similar. And he has managed to get a scan of the original wheels. And because it's a scan, we can reduce it to 15-inch to match the size of the tyres. So that one of the next things we're going to do is show his scanned wheel being offered up to the XJC. Hopefully we can do that in the next month or so. So that project has been ticking along quite nicely as well. Besides anything else in the XJC, it is quiet at the moment because Adrian's been very busy. He's got another XJC in to do as well. So it has been going slow, but he's back on it now. So hopefully we'll have more to show you on the XJC pretty soon. Apologies for the delay. We also got the Ferrari 355 in for the manual conversion at SB Racing. We had to do it. I've nearly brought it to the island, but I thought, actually, we're doing the manual conversion. There's an expense of being on an island like this, so we thought, let's get it in there. So that's gone into SB Racing for the manual conversion, and they're probably going to do belts because it's just about due, do everything on it. And there are things that on the manual conversion that's easier with the engine out. So not much, but it's worth doing it whilst that's going on. So that was the decision on that. Now I'm getting chased a lot on the Lamborghini Murcielago roadster manual conversion. I promise you, it really is nearly there. It was just a few ECU tweaks that were going on last time I was there. But the main thing I was chasing them on was to get the latch points welded onto the screen rail. There was nobody else I wanted doing that than SB, because it's, you know, it's a precious Lamborghini. So they're just about on that. And once that's done, we can get the hardtop project underway. So that's not coming to the island as yet. So on the big move to the island, it was the E-Type Jag 3.8 Coupe and this Triumph Stag, which was moved here. The Roadster E-Type, which I had a lot of video a few months ago, has sold. So I wasn't joking, it really has sold. I was quite upset, but it's gone to a really good home, I hope to think. And so it was the Stag on the E-Type. Now the E-Type's had a fair few problems over the summer. It's been into Adrian for a head gasket problem, which was done. And then even then, we just couldn't balance the carbs. So in the end, I had to rip it away from Adrian and say, look, I've got to go, we're going to the island. So it was fine going up the motorway, but I've got to the Isle of Man now, and it's running very rich. Anyway, it's in a local garage. There's a separate video that I want to show you on that, but we're getting there. So the long and the short of it is the only classic car that I've got is the Triumph Stag, which is supposed to be the one that's historically unreliable. But she's just ticked up the motorway, beautiful, absolutely no problems. And she's going in for the Isle of Man test. I'll just tell you about it in a minute, but the one other car I haven't mentioned yet is the Lotus Esprit, which I'll do a separate video of. We were going to go to Lotus Bits, and we still might, but there's a friend of mine who's an aircraft engineer. He said, oh, I'd love a crack at that. So he's got the Lotus Esprit. If you check out DIY Tuners, it's another YouTube channel, you can see Steve cracking on with that, and I'll try and incorporate a bit of his video into mine at some stage. But basically, I had another road trip amongst all this to trailer the Esprit up to near Grantham to drop it off with an electric car, and it wasn't great. Do watch that video when it comes out, because it just shows you towing with electric cars a bit of a pain. But anyway, back to the Isle of Man. We're here, and the Stag's running well. And a lot of people say, why you switched islands from the Isle of Wight to the Isle of Man? And the main reason from my perspective is the roads are fantastic here, and they're not just fast. There's some lovely fast roads, but they're obviously beautiful. The mountains are fantastic, and the number of petrol heads on the island is through the roof. So that's my main reason for coming to the Isle of Man. It's a fantastic place for sports cars, classic cars, rally cars, the whole lot. It's not just the whole TT motorbike fraternity either. It's the whole thing. It's just great. And the number of people I'm meeting that have got classic cars here, it's just, the ratio is huge. It's just mad. So really pleased we made the move. The difficult bit with coming here is you've got to re-register the car. This is a separate country to the UK. So you've got to do a sort of a MOT type check on the car when you arrive here if it's more than 5 years old. It's only a one-off, so it's not every year. It's a one-off as the car arrives, and then that's it. So you book them in. This car's booked in for its MOT a couple of weeks' time, and when it gets that, then you can re-register on the island, which you have to do if you moved here. You cannot leave your cars on UK plates, so you have to re-register, and you have to get an Isle of Man driving licence and all that business. So we're doing all of that swapsy stuff for the health and all that sort of insurance and everything. But the cars is just an extra layer of stuff for us to do, because we've got a fair few, as you know. So Stag's booked in for its test. Obviously, we had quite a few private plates in the UK, and I've got all of those for sale now because I don't need them anymore. But also, you can actually buy Isle of Man, say cherished plates, because otherwise you'll just get issued a sort of bog standard, and it's not age related, just a bog standard plate. But if you want a plate that says Man or Manx or Mun or one of those, then you pay a bit extra. So we're just going to get a few. For instance, with the E-Type, I want to get a date related, as if what was issued in the 60s to match the car, and same with the Stag. I want to make sure that nothing special, but matches the age of the car, really. It's an interesting process. It's not something that I was really expecting, actually, but what's incredible here, I mean, anyone that lives in the UK will smile at this. I rang up the department to work out when I can get the car MOT'd, and there was no answer. So I left a message, and they rang me back. Can you imagine the DVLA ringing you back in the UK? It's just not going to happen. So everything's like that here. You can walk into the tax office and speak to people. You can walk into the GPs and get an appointment. It's fantastic. Anyway, I'm digressing. One thing we've noticed as well, getting a new driving licence, my son passed his test last year, and here, which I think is a very good idea, they're limited to 50 miles an hour for the first year after passing their test. So he's actually going to be slowed down now, which is funny. He's not fast anyway. So here we are, Isle of Man, fantastic weather. It's always going to be like this, apparently. Everyone's telling me that it's very sunny on the Isle of Man. The roads are fabulous. The food's great. It's a very safe place. There's no car thefts, or very little. And that's having a car collection. It's a big thing for me to feel that they're safe. It's massive. So the downside of the ferry and all that sort of stuff is also an upside. Let me know your thoughts about that, but I think we made the right move. I'll let you know in the next few months if we have, and I'm going to show you a bit of the island with these cars up over the TT course, but there's a lot of other roads that I want to show you that are fantastic. You know, I keep driving one road saying this is more of a Stag road, this is more of an E-type road, and this is a definite Lamborghini road. So let's have a look at them over the next few months. Coming into winter, but you know, when we get a nice day, which I'm sure will be every day, we'll get out there and show you some of the Isle of Man. Thanks for watching. See you next time.